between the ups, the downs, the curves and the rounds. I'll bring it to your city or your hometown. I'll go back in time when the feeling was fine, when funkin' was legal and it wasn't a crime. Party people lined up and down the way, a bigger celebration than your birthday. Funkin' up the neighborhood, I felt the fool 'cause the funkin' was good. Funk you in the city, funk you up in the woods. Funkin' up the neighborhood, funkin' up the neighborhood. I felt the fool 'cause the funkin' was good. Funk you in the city, funk you up in the woods. Funkin' up the neighborhood. And I have seen the world pristine, funk you up in the bushes, funk you down in the trees. Now look around, all the frowns, the yellow, the white, the red and the brown. And keep in mind, it never costs a dime, 'cause funkin' is free, I remember the time. Now look today, the streets are gray, time to take it back to yesterday. Funkin' in the neighborhood, I felt the fool 'cause the funkin' was good. Funk you in the city, funk you up in the woods. Funkin' up the neighborhood, funkin' up the neighborhood. I felt the fool 'cause the funkin' was good. It was good in the city, funk you up in the woods. Funkin' up the neighborhood. Funkin' up the neighborhood, I felt full 'cause the funkin' was good. Funk you in the city, funk you up in the woods. Funkin' up the neighborhood, funkin' up the neighborhood. I felt full 'cause the funkin' was good. Funk you in the city, funk you up in the woods. Funkin' up the neighborhood, funkin' up the neighborhood. I felt full 'cause the funkin' was good. Funk you in the city, funk you up in the woods. Funkin' up the neighborhood, funkin' up the neighborhood. I felt full 'cause the funkin' was good. Funk you in the city, funk you up in the woods. Funkin' up the neighborhood.
And we're live!
And we are back!
Welcome to the Underdog Journey. I'm Wes, this guy's David, and between the two of us, we might have some technical difficulties, but we're always here, just for you.
A little bit of technical difficulty. Just a little bit.
But that's okay. It's going to be
Just
a fun show
little bit of
tonight.
technical difficulties.
It's
going to be a fun show.
It's going to be a really fun show. We
So,
have a lot going on right now.
Tell us about the show, because we're doing. I'm still, because of said aforementioned technical difficulties, I'm still sending out invites. I'm actually kind of just getting started on these invites, so it's going to be fun. So I'm going to be like halfway listening to Wes. I'm like, I'm going to give him the wife treatment. Yes, dear.
So I mean, actually, that's not bad. If he's half listening to me, then that's already double what he normally does. So we're good.
Yeah, that is true. I am deaf in one side. So in case you guys don't ever know, I always only ever wear one earbud because I'm stone deaf on one side. So, all I can ever do is halfway listen to somebody.
Literally. Your wife's I've said it before, David. I'll say it again. Your wife's a lucky lady.
Well.
So what are you drinking tonight, David?
Sad. I mean, take your pick.
What are you drinking tonight? What do you got going on?
What am I drinking? Oh, okay, well, let's
get some
see.
Good stuff.
So I'm out here in Boston. which we've talked to you guys about a lot. You guys know I do a lot of traveling, and I get out there and I do a lot of things. Well, today I'm in Quincy, Massachusetts, which is a little south of Boston, and there's a freaking blizzard going on outside right now. And I stumbled across a prostitute. No, that's not what I did.
Nope.
I stumbled across this place called the Widowmaker Brewing Company. And so I went there and drank a copious amount of beer before getting a lot to go and then bringing it back here. And this is called Vidra, which is a Czechoslovakian pale ale. And I'll tell you what, when you start drinking, trying to say the word Czechoslovakian becomes more and more difficult.
After a whole six-pack, yeah, Czechoslovakian is probably not the best thing to try and pronounce.
When I finish these, come back to me and ask me to say, David,
say Czechoslovakian.
Say Czechoslovakian. But then they had a Pilsner, this is a Pilsner that they have as well. And this is their little growler that they have. So let me get a good view of you guys.
That is a cool growler.
Can you see that very well?
Yeah.
It is really cool growler. It's a 32 ounce, so it's for a guy who has baseball gloves for hands, this is a proper size glass of beer.
That's almost a full size beer for you. Almost.
That is almost a full size beer. So I don't know if I'm going to waste my time in putting it in this little teeny tiny glass. I might just drink it straight from said Widowmaker. But it's old is actually quite cool. And awesome. Their logo is really sweet. So all in all, I've had a couple of their beers. They are like a lot of other craft brewers. They are heavy on the IPAs, but they also have some really good stouts. They have a good peanut butter stout. So if any of you guys know Central Ohio, because we have a decent amount of viewership in Central Ohio, you guys know Bourbon Meyer. Not Urban Meyer, Bourbon Meyer, the peanut butter stout that you can get from, I don't even remember the name of the brewery down there, but down there off of High Street. It is on par with that. It's good stuff. And if you're ever in the Boston area and you get a little south of town in Southie, keep on going. Go on down to Quincy. Head over to, I don't even know, I think it might be called Braintree in this area. And go to Widowmaker Brewing and just sit there at the bar. I got to meet some great people tonight and interact with them for probably an hour and a half. Then get my beer to go. You're not going to be disappointed.
Nice.
They've got a beer you're going to like. You're going to enjoy it. So as a guy who spent a lot of time on the East Coast here, especially in the Boston area, this is one of the places I'm coming back to. Now, we've talked before about the Boston Cigar Club, and I was there last night and had a great time. And Wes and I, because, we're, boyfriend, girlfriend here, we're texting during my time over there. And it was quite a funny texting scenario, as I recall. But I was drinking and smoking cigars, so it was a great time for me.
Yeah, there you go. I was reading books to my kids. You were smoking cigars.
Yeah, smoking cigars and drinking Blanton's on the rocks. So, and getting some excellent service from great people over there at the Boston Cigar Club. Yeah, so that's another thing is if you ever come up here into the Boston area, go over to the Boston Cigar Club. Tell them Dave or Wes sent you from the Underdog Journey, and they're going to take great care of you, and you're going to have a great time either way. So that's what I'm drinking tonight. So I've got the I don't even remember the name that they have here. I'm sure it's a Widow Lager is what the name of this guy is, or Widow Pilsner or something like that. And then we got the Vidra is the other one. But what, Mr. with the pipe? What are you drinking tonight?
It's on topic tonight. So. I'm a fan of the stouts. I'm going through a stout thing right now. Tonight I'm drinking from Southern Tier Brewery, Nitro Hot Cocoa Imperial Stout. Good stuff. And considering...
Whoa, break that down. Wait a minute. You gotta start at the top on that one. You gotta start at the top. Nitro... Go ahead.
Nitro Hot Cocoa Imperial Milk Stout. There's a lot going on here.
Oh, my Lord.
This is delicious.
A lot, yes.
And you know what? Since it's almost St. Patrick's Day and I'm very Irish, I have a backup here just in case. A little bit of the old Jameson. Just in case. So.
Okay. Oh, okay. All right, hold on a second. I've got to get off of this screen and then onto the other screen because all I see is you and in about a 5-second delay.
Well, so, that leads into some of the
Facebook.
technical difficulties we're having. We won't get into all of that. But, so tonight we actually have a really fun show. We actually have a special guest tonight, Chris Morgan of Morgan Pipes, and the maker of the legendary Bones Pipes. So before we bring Chris on, let's talk really quick, just very, very quickly about the fundraiser we have going on for Easter Seals of Central and Southern Ohio. David, do we have a date locked in for that yet?
We do. Unfortunately, it's in that bag behind me in my leather bag, my leather laptop bag back there. But we do have a
and I
date,
gave David no warning I was going to ask about that. That's fine.
It's the Sunday after Mother's Day. So 1 week from Mother's Day at the Selected Pay Lake, which we have a location, we have a date, we have food provided. We are working on a beverage sponsor. Pepsi sponsored the event last year. We're hoping they will take another swing at it this year. We have a huge goal, which we've talked to you guys already about, of $10,000 to raise for the charity down there, the Easter Seals of Central and Southern Ohio. And it's really going to benefit the people in Southern Ohio, more specifically Lawrence County, which is where we're going to do the fundraiser, which is where we're having the event. And this event has grown and grown and grown. So
we have like 4 or 5 different YouTubers on board for this, correct?
We have 7 or 8.
7 or 8 now. Okay.
Dedicated fishing channels that are now taking part in this fundraiser. We have some of the top guys, we have some of the mid guys, and we have some of the new guys in this. Actually, I believe one of our viewers tonight is Brandon. He's one of the people that's going to be involved in this as well. It's going to be an amazing event, to the point where I'm sitting here thinking, is there any need for us to actually fish? I would much rather do a live cast because we're going to have an hour run-up, a 2-hour fishing tournament, and then a 1-hour rundown, pomp and circumstances, awards,
David.
And contacts.
David, are you suggesting that our time would be better spent not fishing? Is that what you're trying to suggest here?
I'm suggesting that your time would be better spent.
Hey, if I remember correctly, you didn't do any better than I did last year.
As I remember, I didn't catch a damn thing either. But it was a great time. And again, we raised nearly $5,000 for the Easter Seals of Central and Southern Ohio.
Yep.
That's coming in the week after May. If I had a calendar,
the week after Mother's Day,
person would.
Yep, the week after Mother's Day, we're going to be doing this.
Day, not week after May.
More details next week. So a little bit about what's going to happen next week. Next week's going to be a very exciting week as well, because we'll be announcing the winner of the Morgan Bones pipe that we're going to be talking about just now. So
wait a minute, Morgan. Wait. Morgan, as in Chris Morgan,
as in
the legendary pipe maker,
as in the Chris Morgan. So
excellent.
Before we bring him on, I want to talk about this real quick. So Chris Morgan makes a line of pipes called Bones pipes. They come in a number of different styles, but I asked him to send us a random one. So we have a random Morgan Bones pipe right here that we are going to send to the winner. And all you have to do to enter is you have to follow the Underdog Journey. You have to like this video, and you have to leave a comment saying why you love Morgan pipes so much, because they're amazing. They are actually legendary. There's actually a fan club dedicated to these things. It's crazy. And so like I said, next week we'll actually be announcing the winner. You have until March 16th at 6 p.m. because at 7 p.m. we're going to go live and we're going to announce the winner. So prepare yourselves for that. But
so now that we're giving this away,
yes.
Before we go further, we attempted a giveaway in the past, and it kind of fell off. And now that we're doing this one, we're going to revamp that one as well. And I don't know whether we're going to tie it in with the fishing tournament or whether we're going to do something else. But the drone that I have,
the drone giveaway. That's right. We didn't.
That is
we never followed through with that
giveaway, which is a DJI Mavic Mini, blah 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 blah, whatever. We're going to be working with that too. But first, so right now, before the show, you and I were talking of whether we're going to keep what is actually in that package a secret or whether we're going to show it so people can see the quality craftsmanship. Do you have a pipe that we can show off from Morgan right now?
So this is one. So you know what? Let's go ahead and bring on Chris right now. So this is actually one of his bonus pipes here.
Wait.
What?
Chris is off. Chris went and grabbed some pipes so he can show off on the show as well.
Yeah.
So he is back. So now he is just about ready. As soon as Chris gives me the thumbs up, I'll let you know.
We're very
all right.
professional.
We have the thumbs up.
True
We have the
professionals.
thumbs up from Chris. Light it up. Let's bring him on the show.
True professionals at all times. Chris Morgan, thanks for joining us.
Oh.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely.
There
Thanks for joining us. So you got to answer the question: should we open this pipe now or leave it a mystery for the winner?
No, leave it a mystery.
See, that's what I was thinking too.
It's something not in the normal rotation, so it would be good to leave it a mystery.
So it's something pretty unique.
All right.
I would say it's like a medium unique.
Okay. Nice.
I don't remember actually. I know it's unique. I just don't recall because I was debating between two of them. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So basically, what we need to do is whoever is the winner of this pipe, you guys need to come back on the show with us the following week so we can see or when you actually receive it, because it might not be a week, but when you receive it, you need to come on the show with us and show us the pipe because we're not going to know what it is.
Good point.
Yeah.
Good point.
It's only Chris, and he's forgotten.
I don't remember. I'm actually I got a crap memory, man.
No, that's
fine. All
fine.
right, so Chris, welcome to the show, and I can't thank you enough for coming on. Wes has had a lot of contact. Wes actually bought me a pipe.
I bought you your first pipe.
My first pipe. I have no idea how to smoke it. I have no idea what to do with it. It sits on my little countertop with all my cool manly stuff. So if you see my shirt, you can't really see it all the way. It says "Do Man Shit" from Jeremy Sires, another YouTube channel. But
Jeremy, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. But I have no clue how to smoke said pipe, and I really want to because I so desperately want to be a grouchy old guy that just tells people to hike their pants up and mow their lawn.
The opposite, man. This isn't like the community has kind of changed into sort of that now. Let's be legally correct. 21
there you
to 30, 38.
Exactly.
I mean, there's a lot of old guys out there for sure.
Let's bump that to 43 so that I'm included in that number, okay?
Old
we'll
man.
bring him to 47. We'll do
all
that.
right, I like that even better.
That works.
It's a pretty diverse crowd. A lot of the guys are usually outdoorsmen or of an academic sort of persuasion, like they're the guy that's sitting there reading a book or whatever. I would say a lot of the guys are outdoorsmen though. That's a pretty big demographic of who I service at that level. But then again, I don't know how many of your viewers are even in the know of what pipe smoking is and all of that. I mean, this is generally a business podcast, right?
It is.
It is. This podcast will take you by surprise. The demographic that we hit, it shifts and morphs. Right now, because we're ramping up to the our at this point our annual fundraiser for the Easter Seals of Central and Southern Ohio, our outdoorsman viewership is going to be through the roof, just through the roof. We have people, we have some teams that are involved. The Blue Cat Mafia is one of the people that's watching literally right now. We have the Real Life Outdoors with Shannon Black, who is our primary cohort in crime. These guys all have a pretty good following, and they're all outdoorsmen. It's what they do. So our outdoorsman follower viewership right now is peaked, and it shifts throughout the year as we go, depending on what we bring on. Yeah. Yeah, I got a brief echo there as well. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, it's so
All
there's.
right. So wait a minute. Wait a
Well,
minute.
hang on.
What scenario do
Well-
you see that allows that a donkey is going to walk behind you?
Oh no! There's a spider in there. Oh.
Oh wow! All right. So now you've opened up a whole new can of worms that I'm interested in. You have a podcast. So when you said you know Jeremy Sires, you actually know who I'm talking about when I say Jeremy Sires.
So
Yeah.
so so guys. So guys,
Oh,
I have
great.
one thing to say real quick. Unfortunately, we're having some more technical difficulties. Apparently, David's audio is coming through, and Chris, we're not getting your audio through the stream. I can hear you just fine. David, can you say something?
Yeah, I'm here just fine.
What is happening right now?
This is what happens.
This
when
is
we put Wes
Gremlins in the
charge.
Machine is what's happening.
Wes just sits over there with his red hair and his bourbon and not doing his job.
That's what it is. It's the lack of a soul.
It's the voodoo. It's the voodoo.
What is
Now,
going
we
on?
did have, I don't know, Chris, if you heard it, we did have a bit of fuzz coming through here a moment ago. But I was still able to hear Chris very well. And, you know, for anybody who can't hear, you are really missing out on some good conversation.
Oh, you really
with Chris
are.
Morgan over here.
It's killing me here. Hang on. I'm
You
working
really
on
are.
this.
It's a great conversation.
I'm working on this. I apologize.
All right, we're just going to stare at you. All right, Chris, look to your left and just stare at West.
Yep, that's. See, exactly.
Yes,
I get
indeed.
this all the time. So, Chris, do you have Skype going on your phone and your computer at the same time? For everybody watching and listening, this is terribly exciting, and I have to apologize. Okay.
So that's one of the things that, you know, one of the things about this podcast that you won't get from others is we actually delve into some of the things that, you know, people don't necessarily know that happens. So when you're bringing people on, are you broadcasting through 2 channels? Are you broadcasting through 1 channel? Who is pulling on? And, we've talked about many times about the Ecamm Live software that we run, which is Mac only, which is why I have a MacBook now. So maybe it's time, we did this review last year sometime. Maybe it's time for us to review what is actually going on. And maybe it's time for us to take a look and say, hey, is there a better software for the level that we're at now?
That's not a bad idea.
We've graduated. Dude, I'm making up crap on the fly while I'm giving you time to.
It's not a bad idea.
To work, bro.
But so that's not a bad idea. So, Chris, can you say something?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, we have your audio now. Because
Okay,
my
good.
software is janky, my video is incredibly choppy right now, but you guys are 100% smooth.
Cool.
So
that's right, ladies.
Thank you,
smooth.
Thank you, Ecamm Live, for making our lives and this podcast a lot more complicated than it needs to be. So, Chris, again, thank you for joining us. I apologize to everybody watching or listening who missed that entire first section. Can you tell us about Morgan Pipes?
Yeah, so I started. Well, let's see, how far back do we go? A tiny little glass, man. You need to get some bigger glasses.
He needs a man-sized glass.
Chris, you have no idea.
It matches your dainty little room you're in.
Yes.
Right now.
Ouch.
Yes.
Postmodern. Yeah. I know. See, the thing is, when I eat a cheeseburger, it always looks bigger. So you might think that's just a regular like McDonald's cheeseburger, but no, it's a Big Mac. It is. When I hold it.
No, when I hold it, it's the little bite-sized horse divorce.
Yeah, never let David pour you a whiskey, because when you ask for 2 fingers of whiskey, he'll fill up a glass like this. He'll fill up a full-size glass.
4 inches.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, oh, okay, you have giant meat hands. Meat
Yes.
mittens.
Yes,
So
that is. Go ahead, Chris.
My history goes back kind of far. It kind of depends. My grandfather and great-grandfather were pipe smokers. And they had big old collections of really cheap pipes, and they, I mean, we could go into this for hours because there's a whole dynamic change that happened from back then till now. But anyway, I decided in 2006 I needed something to do. I was kind of burnt out from college. I did 2 years going after a marine bio degree and realized that it just wasn't worth it for where I live. You can't live off that kind of money. So came back and started making pipes. I bought a carve your own kit from Vermont Freehand and started chipping away at it and sold that one. And then I sold another one. I sold another 10 and then started accumulating equipment, and here we are. 16 years later.
Wow.
Still at it with, I think I have five factory lines made in Italy, which are where the bones are made, and then I have my handmade stuff that I do very sporadically, just because I don't have the time anymore.
At what point did you realize this could become like a full-time thing for you and not just a hobby? Like, that's a pretty big career change.
Good job, yeah.
Well, and you'll love this in between, because pipe making is such a solo sort of hermit style business. Like, you are literally hunkering down doing your work because it's so labor intensive, and you could literally spend the daylight hours working and never see anyone, and it actually makes it really hard to have a full on family and a normal life. But I've had other jobs in between just to have fun. I worked for a tech company for a bit and headed up their North American sales division for their B2C, and I dealt with all their supply chains with that. And then I also, oddly enough, worked at Whole Foods. That's a funny story. In between, I got really tired of not seeing anyone.
Right.
I'll tie this back in. I have a point here, but Yeah, I went and I worked in the bakery at Whole Foods here locally because I wanted to be around people and like, be able to just bullshit throughout the day instead of like tediously being a cave troll, basically. When did I decide, or how did I decide? I can honestly say I willed it into existence.
Nice.
For a lot of people, there's. I mean, maybe if there's something I can add to the business aspect of this, a lot of people see a wall, or a ceiling in their business, and they're like, well, it's not enough money. I'm exhausted, whatever, instead of manipulating the situation to suit them. And that's why you see at the upper levels of executive business, a lot of moving around, a lot of shuffling from place to place. Hey, this position doesn't fit. I'm going to go over to this division. I'm going to head up that division. And I kind of took a piece out of that playbook and just said, you know what? I don't really want to, I don't want to stop doing this. I mean, I'm relatively good at it, I think, and I enjoy the community, and that's where we went.
Dude, that is awesome. And I have more questions about that in 1 second. But Chris, I got to tell you, there's actually one section of our show where we have a live studio audience join us. This is my son, Lachlan, and he loves to show David his monster pictures.
Yeah, and this is my color monster.
It's your color monster.
All right, Lachlan, what do we got here? What do we got tonight, Lachlan?
It's a color monster.
Oh, okay.
Color monster.
So what kind of animal is that, Lachlan? What kind of animal?
It's a monster.
Oh, it's a monster, so it's a special classification.
Yes.
So you don't classify demon spiders as monsters, but this is. That's interesting.
Let's see Patrick say.
I find that interesting.
And here is Catherine. She's been sick, so she's recovering.
And I got Floppy with me.
You have Floppy. Floppy Bunny is with her.
Well, I haven't. We've got a bit of delay here, so I can't see Catherine. Oh, there's Catherine.
There she is.
Hi, Catherine.
Oh,
are you feeling better?
He's my Beckett bag.
This is his Beckett bag. This is his homework from school.
Yeah, you want to see what it looks like on the inside?
Hey, look, not right now, but
Poor Catherine. Poor Catherine's like, I'm not feeling well, and Lachlan's like, hey, this is my bag. Check this out, bro.
Right. This is where he does his homework.
That's cool.
It opens up to free sections.
So, Chris, we are true professionals at all times. What's happening here?
If they had those when I was in school, I'd ignore that as well.
No, that was great, buddy. That was awesome. Thank you.
He's working so hard.
He's been working very hard on his reading and writing.
Holy moly. All righty.
And he really wanted.
That's a lot of work.
David, he really wanted to show you that monster. So that was pretty great.
That's cool. Can we get the monster? Can we get the monster just one more time?
Monster one more time here.
Just one more time.
Everything's falling apart.
There we go.
There we go.
You hold this. All right.
Does the monster have a name?
Hey, Locke, does the monster have a name?
No.
No? What would you name this monster if you could?
I don't know.
Farty McFarty.
We're gonna call him Stuart.
What?
Stuart the monster.
Stuart? Is that a good name?
I don't really want to.
He doesn't want to name it. It's a monster with no name.
I don't know what if a good name should be. Yeah.
How about Stuart?
Are you? Wait. Are you going to ride him through the desert on a monster with no name?
But I'm bummed. He's a dad, so that's one of his jokes.
Yes,
That's a good one.
All right, Lachlan. I appreciate it. You guys, good night. Remember, you can both have donuts and candy for breakfast in the morning.
Well, she's had nothing to eat but Oreos and donut holes because she's been sick. So.
Yes. Good night, Lachlan.
Good night, guys.
Good night, Catherine. You all have a great evening.
So, Chris, I should have warned you about that. Sorry.
No, it's all right. I knew that you guys did this. I've watched a few of the other episodes.
Oh, wow. Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, I see your hashtag current wife just popped in the background there on the live feed.
Yep. So my current wife likes to make an appearance as well. So Chris, that was a really interesting story about how you got started. So you said you willed it into existence. Like, did you?
Yeah.
Like, was there a lot of work? Like planning this business? Like, I don't think most people would know where to start if they want to do this as a career.
It's a pretty formidable adventure that you have to be prepared to go on. The biggest thing is a lot of the animosity, and that's something that does exist. Some of these more, like, I would call it sort of a how would I put this? God, I'm getting that echo again.
Yeah, we're getting a bit of echo. We got a bit of fuzz in there, but go
I
ahead.
don't have an
Go
echo
ahead.
on my
Keep
side.
talking.
Okay. All right,
So-
we'll sally forth. The trades where you produce an item, and that is not just the item, but it has to be high end, right? So, like, let's just say you make, I don't know, bandsaws. Well, there's no real high end version of that. You make a thing that creates something else. Like, you make a tool, right?
Mhm.
Now, you would also have, let's just say, comparing that to, you make a chef's knife. Say you're like, I don't know, Wusthof, and you make chef's knives. Well, Wusthof is, it's a, there's 1,000 of that blade made at a time, right? So there's no real animosity. It's at a professional level. It's higher up. And I should say higher up as far as like nose in the air, higher up, as opposed to, anyway,
Right.
I'm getting off topic because I'm watching myself on YouTube and I'm watching you guys.
That's
The
all
delay,
right.
the delay is killer.
Off topic is where we shine.
I tangent like a MFer.
Yes,
Thing
indeed.
That you have to develop getting into it, and the biggest shocker for me was the thick skin element.
Did you get a lot of
a
poor feedback at first?
Go ahead.
Did you get a lot of poor feedback
No,
at
it's not
first?
so much. No, there's it's a very small group of people. So if you do something that other people see as, I don't know, greedy or something like that, then you end up paying for it for a while. And we had an issue early on where I was working with a particular seller on eBay who would list these pipes at a penny, right? And he would auction them. And it was just roll the dice, right? You have no kids, so you have no real responsibilities. You're not married. You own your car. You're like, fuck it, let's do this. Let's roll the dice and see what it goes for. The problem is that some of the pipes that I was making 2-3 years in were selling for like $2,000-$3,000 a piece at auction.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And you'd have bidding wars, and so other makers would see that and they would be freaking out, like, why? How is he getting this kind of money? There's probably something fishy going on. There wasn't anything fishy going on.
I'm just a better product.
It's not even that, because I could tell you right now that those pipes were not worth $300 at the time. It was a boom market. There was a weird thing that happened where most pipe makers were making an obscene amount of money. And guys would compete their collections against each other. Like, I have this. Oh, I have this pipe, and I got this. And
So Chris, not to interrupt you, but I've made this point on this show multiple times that the value of an item, such as a Pokemon card or a Magic the Gathering card or a baseball card, any of these type of items on that level, the value of a car, a classic car versus a Fox Body Mustang versus a Corvette. Any of these things, a stock, a bond, or any of it is only worth what somebody is willing to bring to the table at any given time, any snapshot in existence. So in that instant right there, where you went back and you said, they weren't worth $3,000, they weren't worth $300. I have to respectfully, of course, disagree, because when somebody's willing to spend $3,000 on your product, that means you have a $3,000 product.
It's worth that to somebody. But that's, so this actually brings up a really interesting point too. So you said that some of these pipes sold for $2,000 or $3,000, but you're known right now for making some of the most affordable, yet at the same time some of the most highly desirable pipes on the market.
Yeah.
Because here's the funny thing. Okay. So like your pipe. So we'll talk about how you got into bones in a minute. But here's a bones pipe that you sent me, and they're not finished. They're pretty. I mean, it's called bones because it's bare bones, and almost any other brand of unfinished pipe that's really kind of nondescript in its design, and most people will just ignore it. But the second somebody suspects this might be a Bones pipe, they're like, "Oh, dude, is that a Bones pipe? Sweet!" Like they're all over it.
So it's not the first unfinished pipe, and I've never claimed that it's better or worse than anything. In fact, on my website, you can see it just says these are pipes, no more, no less.
Yeah.
And that was the whole point. So I could kind of give you like a concise view of what happened. So I was doing my handmade pipes. This is far after all the craziness happened, because that is, like I said, that is one thing that people they don't really tell you about. Is there's a lot of infighting. There's a lot of, it's like high school basically. The pipe industry back then was like high school, and it's even. I mean, you think it's bad there. God, it's even worse with knife makers. Like knife makers are some of the cattiest people, but it's also it's a very loving and very inclusive community. But there are outliers that cause some problems. So I mean, it's just what it is. It's whenever you create a product that is really initially intended to be a functional tool, and then it turns into like a Gucci item, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Sure.
That's
Yeah.
when
Yes.
you get all that crap. And it's the same thing with fishing gear. I mean, there's rod makers that are like that too. I mean, kind of happened was, so I was making handmade pipes until about 2009. And I kept making handmade pipes the whole time, but at that point I kind of realized I started developing a new product called the Briar cigar. It's a cigar shaped pipe. It's not the first cigar shaped pipe, but it is the only and the original The Briar cigar. I will state that. I went and did the crazy thing of getting a patent. And if you're familiar with that entails, it is exceptionally expensive, and it takes a ridiculously long time. But I did it, and it was just the crazy thing I was doing at the time. Ended up being awarded the patent 4 years later. And a couple years later, I wanted to do a factory line of pipes. So those went to, instead of me making them here by hand, they went to Italy through some friends, and they started making them. And that way I could bring the cost down. And then I started bringing in other lines, Blackjack, which is sort of like a traditional mid-grade line in like maybe the $120 market. Had those made, and I still had people saying, "Hey, I can't afford these. They're too expensive." I'm like, "Well, shit, I don't know what to do then," because, the prior line in between the handmaids and Blackjack for my Raw series, which is the precursor to the Bones line. Sort of, it was a throwback a little bit when I came out with it. The Raw line was pre-made stems that I would finish, and then I would make the bowl portion. And those were much cheaper than my handmaids, but still not as cheap as Blackjack, which is why Blackjack came out. Shortly after Blackjack, I think it was like 2 or 3 years later, I made the decision to just, like with a friend of mine, to he suggested, like, "Hey, you need to do like a bare bones line of pipes, something really, really inexpensive."
Yeah.
And I looked around with my guys, and they had barrels upon barrels of old Stummels from the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, whatever, that just weren't good enough to finish as like first grade pipes. And I said, "Hey, I want those." I'm like, "Why? Why do you want them? We just burn these, like they use them for fuel sometimes."
Yeah.
I was like, "I'll take them, stem them up, send them my way." And I started checking them out, and we were talking. A friend of mine who's now passed. He said, "Man, you gotta sell those, man. You gotta, like, something bare bones. You gotta sell them. You should make them like $49." And we were drinking at the time, and I was like, "I'm gonna make them $39. Screw it. We'll see what happens." Make them so ridiculously cheap that people won't even question it. And here we are, 6 years later.
Dude, and that is
I'm on your website right now, over here on the iPad on the sidecar here, and $39 to $55 for a brand new pipe.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, and there's 350 plus shapes in the catalog so far. I mean, here's one. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff.
So you have taken. We'll talk about the barrier to entry into a business. Now we have taken Morgan Pipes, which is up on the screen now. You guys can see it. The barrier to entry on this hobby is now removed.
right.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it
So-
always has been. I will put that in there. Missouri Meerschaum and their corncob pipes, they've enabled that to happen for 150 years. So you've always been able to pick up a corncob pipe for what you would spend on your morning coffee.
Yeah.
I'm just giving you get over that barrier of entry for briar pipes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's an
I'm
interesting
sorry.
thing about these pipes. So, you mentioned that these were just kind of like almost throwaways for a certain period of time.
Yeah.
But, that's actually one of the interesting things that people seem to really love about your pipes is the imperfections, the little flaws and the little, how it changes in color over time. And, not only are they great smokers, but like they're at a price point where you can buy 2 or 3 and still feel pretty good about your purchase. And, you can throw one, you can keep one in your glove box, you can keep one in your daily rotation of pipes. And, again, like I said, people love this brand so much that literally you could be smoking one of these, and somebody walks up and says, "Is that a Bones?" And people recognize it because it has its own branded look almost at this point.
Yeah. Here's its own thing. So, on this same thing, you're talking about the throwaway piece parts. Now, do you guys know who's? I think his name is Chris Martin. You know who Chris Martin is? Of course you don't. You guys are not guitar guys. Chris Martin is the CEO of Martin, the CF Martin Guitar Company.
Okay, yeah,
Now,
I'm familiar with that.
Mm-hmm.
That's out of Pennsylvania. It's not Bethlehem. It's another city there with a biblical name in Pennsylvania. But the backpacker guitar, when Chris was out traveling, he met a guy who was building these guitars, and he said, "Well, what do you build them of?" He goes, "Well, to be honest, I buy your scraps, the stuff that you throw away." And the neck is a scrapped neck from Martin Company. The body is built from rejects from the Martin Company. So the whole guitar was already a full-blown Martin guitar built from rejects from the Martin Company.
Yeah.
And he took it back to his board and his leadership there as CEO, Chris Martin of the CF Martin Company, if you guys can get the tie in there, and took it back to his company and found out that, hey, we can build this. And he bought that whole thing from a person, the whole idea, the whole patent, everything from a person to be able to build what is now known as the backpacker Martin guitar. So that is kind of the same level, from a guitar world, because I'm far more in tune with that, where Wes is far more in tune with the pipe smoking. These two are at the same level.
Yeah, it's very similar.
That's where Chris Martin pipes are.
Morgan.
These Bones pipes are.
So
That's the level that we're talking about.
So
I'm still waiting for my paycheck. I'm waiting for someone to buy me. So
right, exactly. Well, who's the parent company?
You work with us, we can make that happen.
Well, who's the parent company of Cornell and Deal? Didn't they recently? They bought Peterson pipes a few years ago.
They bought Peterson, yeah.
Yeah. So hey, look, might happen soon. The Bones pipes, right? So tell us about that process. So you buy these pipe parts that are, a certain creator doesn't want. Tell us about your process.
So there's multiple parts to this, and right now it's even gotten more complicated because of the supply chain issues that arose from last year. Basically, what happens in the process is there's 3 sides to it. So there's pipes that my factory, which I have never told anyone about.
Ooh, okay.
That's another business secret. Always have proprietary information.
Yeah.
Always. Even if it's stupid, pretend that it's super important.
The Coca-Cola recipe.
I'll bet you the Coca-Cola recipe is maybe like a Post-it note.
Right. It's like corn syrup.
So simple and dumb.
Exactly.
Yeah. So mystery, and also with Bones, it's some of the stumbles could be from the 50s. Some of them, in fact, I'll kind of give you a quick segue. We were able to track down a set of pipes. It was 50 pipes from 1930 that had been sitting in the basement. They were old Rossi pipes. So before, my factory sits among other factories on what used to be the Rossi campus in Varese, Italy, which is far northern Italy above Milan. And over time, they broke that up and other factories moved in. And so they all kind of, not all of them, but a lot of them coexist in kind of the same area. And under their particular building was a box of pipes from 1930, unsmoked, that had briar stems. And that would have been right around the time of, I assume, it could have been overflow from World War I when they couldn't use rubber, or it could have been because of the Great Depression, or whatever. Who knows what the reason was, but they couldn't use the rubber, right? So they made briar stems. And so I got a hold of these, worked with the Perinelli Pipe Museum in Italy. They were able to track down the original provenance. The certificate of authenticity was produced by them. We found the original packaging, reproduced it, and we also finished them and stamped them with the original stamp that we tracked down from the buyer of the stamp that picked it up at auction years and years ago. And we put those out, and as far as I know, those are the only 50 that were ever made at that point.
Wow.
That's incredible. Like, that story alone, like, your business acumen to be able to pull that off is remarkable.
Take a page from your previous episode, collaboration. You know, like, I am not the smartest person in the room almost ever, but I tend to gravitate towards people that are exceptionally good at certain things.
Chris,
you should run for president. Just saying that, you should run for president.
No
No politics.
I'm running for president, but there's a saying that if you are the smartest man in the room,
you're in the wrong room.
You're in the wrong room.
Yeah.
Well,
So
Chris,
I go into a lot of places, and the places that I feel the most comfortable and that I enjoy the most are the places where I know I am not the smartest guy in the room. If we're talking about life safety, designing fire alarms, mass notification systems of that nature, and I get into a room and these people are talking at this level, I'm like, oh my God, I can learn so much.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is where I want to be. And then when I'm right at the top of that room, I'm like, I need to find another room. And I go find another room.
Sure.
And it's not necessarily in that same box. I might go to a room that's talking about, this is how nerdy we are, okay? Chris, just in case you don't know how nerdy we really are.
I'm a nerd too. We're good.
You're in good company.
I am a paid subscriber to the New England Journal of Medicine.
Aren't we all?
And I get updates every single day, and I read them almost religiously of everything, just because it's something that I have no contact with at all. I don't live in that world, and I get into it. So you're here talking about these pipes and building these pipes and this thing in Milan. I'm like, when you talk about Milan in India, or I'm sorry, in Italy, not India. But when you talk about Milan in Italy, sorry, I've drank a lot of beer. So the tongue doesn't work quite as well.
True professional.
So we talk about that. My immediate
Czechoslovakia.
Czechoslovakian style lager here is to think of Alfa Romeo, the car manufacturer. But you're talking about the pipe world, and I'm sitting here just like, oh my God, this is awesome.
There's two meccas. There's two meccas in the world for pipes. One of them is in France, where they literally have actually it's where Chacom is based. They literally have a giant statue of a pipe. And then the other one is northern Italy, and that is where pipes are made. It's kind of I always use this same way of putting it. If you want a hamburger, you come to the U.S. If you want really good seafood, you go to Japan. You know what I mean? Like,
fair point.
If you want
right?
Tacos. People would say you go to Mexico. You actually go to San Diego.
You go to San Diego tacos. Great.
Okay.
No, you don't go to Mexico.
Burritos the size of your head.
Oh, holy shit! They got better Mexican food in California than probably anywhere else in the world. But nothing against Mexico, but there are places that have specialized in things for hundreds of years, and Italy is that place. And that's why whenever I hear someone badmouth, like, "Oh, it's just a shitty Italian pipe," it's where pipes are made. It's I have third and I think there's a fourth generation pipe maker working on my pipes. Now, it's not the same as what I do. Like when I make a pipe, it's a very different process. But I mean, I would say that it's the same as like you can have a knife maker who makes one pipe start to finish by hand, or you can have a knife maker that works in a factory and stamping out blades and grinding blades. It's the same damn thing. It's just a different process.
Yeah.
And so in that kind of nutshell, it's I mean, if you want a French pipe, you go to France. If you want an Italian pipe, you go to Italy. I mean, there's American pipe makers, and we're, by and large, quality-wise, they have always been up there. But then you can go to Denmark, and you can go with like the Danish greats, Tom Eltang, Teddy Knudsen. I mean, Teddy's Swedish, but Former. I mean, these guys are legends. When you say legend for me, I laugh because I'm like, I'm fucking nobody. These guys are like literally 50-year tenured pipe makers. So,
well, I mean, look, don't sell yourself short. And that's one of the things that we talk about on our show. As you were talking about, you've went back and watched some of our episodes. One of the things that we really push people is to not sell yourself short.
Well, not only that,
don't devalue.
Well, not
never
only that.
devalue. I get it. You're playing the humble thing.
You can be an arrogant son of a bitch sometimes. So
thank you very much, because
we appreciate
money, Chris. That's where the money is.
Well, so David,
that's where the money
considering
is.
David's on this show, we actually appreciate arrogant sons of bitches. But Chris, so that actually brings us to a good point. You actually have a fan club for your boned pipes. There's a fan club.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and preface this, and I will give a quick shout out. I hate that term shout out, but I'm going to say a couple things about the fan club.
Yeah.
I hate saying fan club also because it's so self-serving.
It says fan club on the...
I know, and that's Gene. Gene put that up, and it's fine. Gene's freaking awesome. The guy is like a total champ.
I'm going to go ahead and show this here.
All of our admins and everything, moderators in the group are freaking awesome. They actually protect me quite a bit, which I'm very thankful for. But I will say this. Community around, and this is, I'll kind of put this secret out there. The community around Bones Pipes is, I should say, the control of the business is theirs. Like, they have almost full say of what happens. Like, I run the show. I design stuff. I put stuff out. I surprise them. I have another surprise. I have actually a handful of surprises coming this year that no one saw coming.
Ooh.
But I are what the brand is. They are the brand. I don't know how else to put this. Like, all those guys like showing their stuff off. They're the reason that it's a big deal. It's not me. Like, I'm just the guy that had a crazy semi-drunk idea deciding to put these out. Like, yeah, someone's totally going to buy this pipe and it's got a big pit inside. That goes against literally everything you're taught as a pipe maker, doing it by hand. Like, that's garbage. This is something that they would throw away in almost any factory.
Well,
it's just like, nope, that's not going to work.
I hate to interrupt, but I do have to interrupt you a little bit. Throw a battery in this thing, and you literally just said the same thing Elon Musk would say, which is, don't thank me. I'm just some guy who had some crazy drunk idea. Like, nobody else did it. You know what I mean?
Yes. And I'm going to refer
you
back.
The trigger. You just, you have to pull the trigger, and you have to be that guy that just says, you know what, I'll take a step out. It's like the Indiana Jones thing. It's a leap of faith. You have to walk out and be like, there's no freaking bridge there. Fuck it. Let's just take a step. See what happens.
That's
totally.
Indiana Jones.
Good movie, by the way. We always do movie quotes.
Just in case you guys don't get that reference.
Yep. No, we love movie quotes here.
No, back onto what I was saying earlier when I stopped and I said, hey, you may say your product was not worth $3,000 or $300. It matters what somebody's willing to spend on it. So and I know you say you don't like this, but your fan club, that fan club is setting those prices. That fan club is setting that precedent. So even though you may not view yourself at this level, this value, your product is worth
Well,
this credit, this value.
you know what? An interesting thing.
And
So a couple episodes back, we talked about the balance of your niche, your audience's niche, versus
Yep.
um, the volume of people within that niche, right? So you actually have a very interesting balance of the price of your product, which ranges on your site between like $35 and $55. And I would say not necessarily the volume of customers willing to pay that, but the actual volume of product you have to sell. So it seems like you actually get like a bulk of product of random shapes, of specific shapes, and then when they sell out, they're gone until you get the next shipment in, right? Is that what happens?
Yeah, part of that's the supply chain issue,
Uh-huh.
but that's actually the way that it has worked in the past. So I'll generally have, shipment of maybe a few thousand pipes come in, and they're all ready, sorted, finished, double checked, triple checked, and then I check them again, and then they go up. And it depends. Like sometimes I'll have 25 shapes that'll go up, and
Yeah.
I actually don't like doing that because that is a ragged day for me.
Mhm.
2 days. I mean, people bitch about inventory taking, like, oh, we got to do inventory. And that's nothing like this. This is like next level. Because if you have this shape and it has a taper stem on one of them and it has a saddle stem on the other, that's two SKUs now.
Mhm.
Now, if that pipe is in Briar and also Arbutus, that's 4 SKUs.
Okay, that makes sense.
Spots on the rack that it has to go into, and it's psychotic. Like you'd have to see sort of a flow chart of how my brain dances around with those problems because it's weird. But yes, having that constant rotation of new stuff is a big thing, and generally my supply is less than the demand, and that changes all the time. So this isn't something like you couldn't analyze. It's different from another business in that way.
So let me ask you, you said you have a factory in Milan or near Milan?
It's above Milan. It's near the Swiss border.
Okay.
It's not mine. I don't own it. These are a group of friends that I've had for like a decade.
That's amazing, though. Like, so as far as I don't know the name of your corporation that you're incorporated under. As far as Morgan Pipes goes, is it just you, or do you have like logistical people to handle all this stuff for you?
No, it's just me. I've done it solo the whole time. I've never had employees. I don't want employees. To be honest, I don't trust anyone else with my customers.
Yeah, dude, your customer service is spot on. By the way,
hold on a second. We have a great moment right here.
Okay.
We have talked about this multiple times over the past 80 whatever episodes that we've done about no one will care as much about your business as
true.
you do.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a great example of someone who's taken that to heart and said, you know what? I know I'm going to be this big. I'm in this box.
Right.
And that's where I'm going to operate. So you talked a moment ago about your supply not meeting your demand. Or I'm sorry, your supply not meeting your demand. And I can't tell you enough how much that's exactly what you want.
Yeah.
It's
not even by choice.
Yes, and that's even better. It's not by design. There are some companies out there who create their own supply shortage.
Oh, yeah, that's very common.
On their demand level,
yeah.
Where you are getting as much of the supply as you can, and your demand level is still higher. Which, I mean, you can't be in a better position. You can't.
Yeah. And I do have standards. A lot of people think that these are the bottom of the bucket. They're not. Like Briar pipes can get a lot worse than this, and we do have in that trifecta that I mentioned before. Like I have bones that are made. So this particular shape, this is the club pipe that I did for the Low End and Affordable Pipe Society. This was made. I designed this to be made. The second would be runoffs from other lines that they produce, and then they modify them so they look different than what they produce. So like they'll chop the top or they'll round off the side or whatever. And these are mechanically phrased. So these would be the old version of what is now CNC, mass CNC milling. So they're chucked up, they're drilled, and they're turned on a mechanical phrasing system that, it's a copy phraser, duplicator. And then the third would be when we run low on that, and I suck up all the seconds, like all of them, they all go to me. When we run low, we actually sometimes have to go buy them off of other factories.
Okay.
In the area. And there are other factories that we don't do business with because the quality just isn't there. The briar isn't produced properly.
Mm-hmm.
It's not cured properly. Sometimes they have internal stress issues where there's cracking. And so, I mean, there are definitely standards. But as far as having it such a small operation, like I've existed on a computer doing this business for 16 years, and it's worked properly and it's worked very efficiently. But being a solo operator, and it is a corporation, it's Morgan Pipes Inc.
Mm-hmm.
I have to be very, very efficient. So that ties into another conversation you guys had on another episode, was customer service.
Yeah.
So customer service for me, both giving and receiving, is number one, period. There's a thing that I reference a lot, and it's a Dale Carnegie quote. Give them the pickle. Always give them the pickle.
Always give them the pickle.
And always, like I just had the issue with this most recent drop. I had maybe 5 guys, and we're talking a lot of pipes went out. We had 5 guys, separate instances, that had really minor issues with their pipes, but they were like, yeah, I just, can I send it back? I'm like, you know what? Boom, you're refunded.
Yeah.
Keep the pipe. Because for me, it's maybe I'm losing $100, but I'm also gaining the next 5 years of their business. And
Yes,
for them,
exactly.
It makes them feel good and appreciated. And I'm not doing it to make someone feel good. I'm doing it because I genuinely give a shit. There's a lot of companies out there that genuinely do not care if their customer is happy. And it gets even worse when you have other employees running the show.
Right. You care about your product,
Yes.
and you can tell that. So an interesting thing is, I know firsthand, when you respond to customer service, you personally respond. It's not a call center somewhere. Yeah. It's you.
No.
And, you can tell by speaking, with you about whatever issues are happening, that you actually not only care about the customer, you care about the product, and you want to make sure that if that customer talks about your product in the future, they have nothing but good things to say.
Yeah, I don't. A lot of guys also try to crush negativity. I've noticed from a business standpoint, a lot of companies will try to hide stuff. Like when you get, when you get something from, and a lot of it's a supply chain issue as well. But when you buy like a product off of Amazon or whatever, and there's a little note that says, do not return this to Amazon. Return it to us if you have to return it. I always felt like that was somehow like crushing a negativity. And I don't want that. I want people to be able to go out freely and be like, dude, what the hell? I got this pipe and it's a piece of crap. I want them to contact me first.
Yeah.
So I can make it better. And if I don't make it better, feel free to burn me publicly. I think we should live in that kind of society. Where people are taken care of. I'm taking $39 of your money, and I don't know. That could be a guy that worked for 5 minutes on the computer doing day trades, and he made that $39. Or it could be a dude that had to save up for 2 months mopping floors at a high school. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yep. I have a customer even that. I mean, I don't know what he does for money, but this guy lives in the middle of nowhere. Like, he's probably one of the most remote places in the U.S. on a mountain. He calls it his mountain. And he, like, once in a while, he'll go up, literally hold his phone up in the air, peek on his mountain to get cell service so he can respond with emails and phone calls.
Wow. And
yeah, I mean, the guy's full off grid. And I mean, like, really off grid. I don't even think he has electricity, like, from solar. So everyone is coming from different walks. I have guys that own pipes that are many thousands of dollars that own my pipes, and they still buy my pipes. I have guys that literally have hundreds of my Bones pipes in their collection. I have guys that the Bones pipe is the most expensive pipe they own because the rest of them are Cobbs. And that inclusive nature is kind of really, really necessary. I am not catering to any one type of person.
No, and that's I mentioned earlier that your pipe is not only one of the most affordable, it's also one of the most desirable. So, I know you play a little humble. You like to. I'm not saying you sell yourself short because you absolutely don't. I mean, you know right where
I'm
you
trying.
are. I got to ask you though,
I know what it is, but
at
yeah.
what point did you realize, holy shit, people like this pipe? Like it's starting to really become a thing.
Probably when Gene started the club, and he was like, "Dude, can we make this the official club?" And I put it off for a while. I was like, "No, we're not doing an official club. I'm not that guy."
Yeah.
And then it started growing, and I think when we hit like 1,000 members, he was like, "Dude, can we just make it official?" I'm like, "Screw it, make it official." And there's a certain part of me that was really uncomfortable because I don't want it to be about me. I never wanted it to be. I don't want, I love doing these podcasts. I love doing stuff, but there was a time, and it kind of has passed now, but where I would call someone and I'd be like, "Hey, Steve, I got your email. I just wanted to check if, the pipe's working out for you." And they're like, "Who's this?" And I'm like, "It's Chris Morgan, Morgan Pipes." They're like, "Holy shit, it's Chris Morgan. Are you kidding me right now?" And I'm like, I mean, tell that to my wife. That's where I want to do that. I want to get them. You know what I mean? Like,
Exactly.
It's appreciated, but I am so I'm staring at a broken down. Well, it still runs, but a 1958 Dodge right on the other side of this window, and I'm getting that thing working, and it's not going to be nice. It's got all the crud and the rust and all that shit, and I'm going to rock it. I'm not the guy that's hopping in my BMW and headed out for steaks tonight. I'm just a regular guy. And I enjoy very simple things, but one of the things I enjoy the most is business. I love business.
Well, you're good at it.
It's just, I don't know if I'm good at it. How would I put that? I go with the flow, because generally, if you shut up long enough, people will tell you everything they want.
That's a good quote.
I like to think, I mean, seriously, I could.
I do not shut up. I do not shut up. That's just how it goes.
I talk all the time, but psychological inevitability. If you sit there and you look at someone, they will tell you their life story, because people hate silence. So I use social media in that regard. A lot of people condemn social media. Oh, this is garbage. We don't need this. I'm like, dude, I've run my company on social media for forever, and I live a fairly comfortable lifestyle.
Yeah.
I don't want for much. If there's something I want, I can buy it. I mean, if I wanted a new fly rod, I could buy that. If I can't buy a new car, but if I want,
Well, you're living in California, so who can afford the gas?
There's a difference between a fly rod and a Bugatti Chiron.
But no, that actually brings up you brought up a great point about you primarily run your business through social media. I got to ask you, what's your marketing look like? What do you do for marketing? Because I've only seen you through word of mouth.
It's all word of mouth.
That's amazing.
The club, I would say, is probably, I would say, 30%. My retailers and distributors would be maybe another 30%, and then I'd be the last 30%. I do not do marketing. I don't believe that you need to. If you have a good enough product, and this I'll say this is a little bit arrogant. I think that bones are a good enough product to where they don't need to be pushed.
Yes.
They quite literally sell themselves. When you go to the store and you have the choice of buying Coke or Pepsi, you buy those two. You don't buy the unnamed soda in the corner. You know what you're looking for and you buy it. They don't need. That's why I think it's off topic, but I think it's ridiculous that Coke and Pepsi still burn money doing advertisements. People are going to buy Coke and Pepsi no matter what.
And that's awesome. So you're actually in a really unique, and I don't use that word lightly here. You're in a really unique place of organic brand recognition, right? So, like I mentioned, you can be out with any other unfinished pipe, right? I can be out here with this, with this freehand, or I can be out here with this, hypothetically, if this were an unfinished Peterson, and nobody would look twice. Nobody would care. I walk out with this, this plain black stem, this unfinished pipe, smoking this thing, and somebody sees just a glint of what might be a logo on the side. Oh, is that a Bones? Yeah, that's awesome, man. I got to get one of those. Or like people, even if people aren't associated with the fan club, like people brag on YouTube videos and Instagram about getting these things. Like they brag about their Bones. I mean, if people have multiples, 3 or 4 or 5 of these things, they're bragging because not only are they desirable, they're affordable, and it makes it that much better that you don't, make a really big thing about it,
Yeah. And I think a lot of the bragging of it is, why do people brag about stuff? You have the guy that shows up to the restaurant in his Rolls Royce and he's like, "Oh, look at my badass car." Even if he doesn't say it, that's what he's doing.
Yeah.
Now, if you see a guy roll up in like a Morgan Roadster, that guy actually really loves driving cars. Right. So it's a different thing. But
for those of you guys who don't know, the Morgan Roadster is made completely of wood. The whole body and structure.
It's made just north of Milan. It's completely wood.
The frame.
It's not Milan,
but
it's a British car.
I'm joking, because he's Chris Morgan.
Yeah, no, and I actually traced my lineage back, and I was like, damn it, not that guy. Also not JP.
No JP Morgan, man.
So my grandma calls me JP because I do like finer things. I just choose not to buy them. I just enjoy looking at them. But why do people brag? Why they show either that they can afford something or they want you to lust after it also. Or third side, which is with Bones, is I want to be part of something. Right?
Yeah. For me, I talk about Chris. So for me, I'll actually talk about some higher end things. And it's because, I'm willing to sacrifice, like you said earlier. Did this person do 5 minutes a day trading, or did they do 30 days of working, cleaning XYZ to earn this? I am absolutely stoked when I put my time in and I earn that extra. I'm now at this level thing. Yes, I understand my paycheck may not match the normal person that's in this demographic, but to be able to step up, I prefer to spend myself. I prefer to spend a higher dollar on a better quality.
Well, and that brings me to a good point, Dave.
And
that's a great point, David.
Yes.
So, Chris, you remind me of a kind of guy who, hypothetically, you could go out today, hire a marketing agency. You could get your stuff on every e-com site available right now. You could get yourself in brick and mortars all over the world. But you actually hold more pride in the fact that you're all organic. Your marketing and your sales and your reach is organic, and you appreciate that.
Yeah. I wouldn't even say my reach is organic. I would say that the Bones community reach is organic.
The Bones, sure.
They are the marketing vehicle. And that, again, was not by design. It happened very organically. But I will say, I'm in dozens and dozens of retailers across the world. I have a distributor in Germany.
You're in brick and mortar locations?
I'm in a lot of brick and mortar. So I'm at there's too many of the list. You can go to my website. At the bottom of the main page, there's a list of my retailers on that site. It is not fully updated because it changes so often. I have retailers in South Korea, I have retailers in Japan and China. I don't know how much I have in Eastern Europe, but like England, for example, I deal directly with Smoke King. Great shop in England. Claire is an absolutely amazing person, and she sells my stuff there. So it's I'm not going to say that I'm not fully integrated, because I am, but yeah, there's the lists there. So when I look over here, by the way, I'm just looking at my phone that's running YouTube.
Yeah.
But yeah, Switzerland, Austria.
Yeah.
So I apologize. I didn't look at this section of your site before. You're in all these retail locations. Are these mostly Bones pipes, or are these other
That's
other
everything.
styles that you have available?
That'd be everything except for handmade pipes. So my handmade stuff is it's sort of referral only. I'll put it that way.
Okay.
Nice.
All right.
Okay. So do you ever
All
do
right,
do you ever
well-
do custom work? Like if somebody comes to you and says, I need, X number of custom, shapes or styles or even laser etching on one of your randoms. Do you ever do things like that?
I if it's a club pipe,
Mm-hmm.
something like that leaps pipe. So we had that done, and they wanted the frog logo with the 2021.
Uh-huh.
That's doable if it's something like that, but I don't do one-off engraving. I am looking into getting an engraver just to do that.
You have a factory that
personalize.
does your engraving right now?
The factory does it, and honestly, I've never seen an operation more proficient at laser engraving pipes. I don't even know how they do it, but they do it by hundreds and the thousands, and it's insane.
Well, now I have to ask.
Um,
What's it going to take to get an Underdog Journey engraved pipe here?
I mean, do you just want like 2?
How many does Leap get?
I want to say the first run was like 100 units. The second one was another 100 because it sold out pretty quick.
Because their price point is almost the same as what you sell on your site.
Oh yeah, it's the same. I don't. I actually, my guys don't charge anything to put the laser engraving on it, which is also shocking.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I need to ask them what system they use because it almost feels like they feed a pipe into a machine that spits it out with the engraving. I don't understand how they're able to do that, but
Yeah.
it's there's a thing that a lot of people sort of don't really realize is that these guys are not making pipes like I make pipes.
Mm-hmm.
So I might put in, like when I do a handmade pipe, something like I'll show you one that's a little more off the wall. When I do something like this.
Oh, dude, that's a sweet design.
So all this top here is all bird's eye, and then you got straight grain all the way around, and then I even had a mosaic pin made with my logo.
Oh, I like that
in there, and it's a military mount. And I actually developed this material with Chris Eldridge for a series on Amazon called The Underground Railroad. I did all the pipes for that series, and they wanted an amber. Well, sorry, I'll step back. I got hired on to make pipes for it through a friend, and they showed me what the director had picked out for all the characters, and I was like, you can't use those. And they're like, why not? I was like, well, they're not period correct, and they're also amber stems. Like you can't do amber stems because if someone drops it, it's gone, and you won't have it for the next scene.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, okay, well, I'll have to develop something. So we went out and started working on different formulations, and that side by side with a real amber stem, you can't tell the difference. And it's super durable, it won't break, and that's the big thing. Repeatability on these sets is important because things get dropped, lost, banged up. If it's like could be exploded or something, whatever. So I made all the pipes for that. I would say maybe a couple dozen pipes. A few of them are higher end.
Well, Chris, you're actually getting ahead of us here a little bit. Go ahead and find what you're going to find.
Rushing?
You're getting ahead of us because are you talking about the Amazon series?
Yeah, the Amazon series.
So we didn't mention that yet. So bring that up. That's actually pretty awesome.
So yeah, sorry, I stepped on your toes there. But
no, not at all. Please tell us about the Amazon series.
Hey, hold on one second, guys. I got to step away for a second. There's somebody knocking at my door very softly, but I'll be back here in just a moment.
So
continue on, Chris.
Yep. So my co-host David is in a hotel and somebody's knocking softly at his door. He's in a don't ask, don't tell kind of state. So we won't ask, he won't tell. Chris, tell us about this Amazon series you worked on.
Yeah. So years back, I'll start from the beginning. I have a friend who was the host of Master of Arms on, I want to say it was History Channel, might have been Discovery Channel. It's sort of the Forged in Fire, but they do like archery, guns, all the stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They build these things on the show. And so Zeke, who's a buddy of mine, who's also known as Pipe Squatch, he's a freaking giant. Like, I mean, he's like 7 foot tall, like 350 pounds. Like, he's a monster. And I've actually had him on my YouTube channel before, and we're probably going to try to have him on the podcast because he's super interesting to talk to. He's in the whole gun community. He's the host of this show, and he was like, "Hey, man, I'm going to be doing this show. I can't tell you what it is, but send some swag." And I was like, "All right." So I sent a bunch of pipes and stuff. You got guys like Nick Irving, Trenton Ty.
Mm-hmm.
These are like big. Nick Irving is like one of the deadliest snipers in history. And he was on the show, right?
Yeah, that's cool.
So Nick, he picks up smoking pipes. He was smoking cigarettes and stuff before, I assume, and he started smoking pipes, quit smoking cigarettes, and I was like, that's cool. And then later on, Trenton Ty, who is a traditional blacksmith down in he's in Mississippi, he got hired on to do the show for Amazon. And he's like, I don't know what it is yet, but they might want you to do some stuff for them. It's kind of rural. And I was like, okay, rural. All right. Let's see what happens. And I find out that it's the Underground Railroad. And I didn't know at first who was going to be putting it out there. I was like, is it Netflix? Is it this, that? And they're like, well, we need you to sign this NDA. So I see the NDA come in. It's all watermarked and it's got all the crazy stuff on it.
Amazon.
And Amazon, super, yeah. And I was like, wow, this is sweet. Okay, cool. So I sent it back to them. Within 5 minutes, I had all the scripts watermarked. I had all the costume stuff. I had all the set design. I had all this amazing stuff. And I was like giddy with excitement because I'm like, dude, I'm inside. I'm behind the curtain.
That's cool.
And it was so cool. It was so freaking cool. I mean, I didn't even care about the money. It was the process of doing it.
Yes.
Having all that information was it was rad. So I started making the pipes, and they're like, it needs to be really period correct. Like, okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
I can do that. I'm like, what's the timeline? And they're like, we're going to go 1830 to like later 1800s, like 1880. And I was like, okay, cool. Because briar pipes weren't even like a thing until like 1850.
Well, right. So are you working in meerschaum or clay?
So I did a meerschaum pipe, which you can see in the first episode.
Did you sculpt it?
It's not. What's that?
Did you sculpt it?
Yeah. No, I made all the pipes, 100%.
You sculpted the meerschaum yourself. So you're working briar and meerschaum.
Yeah, I've got meerschaum here, actually.
Cool.
Yeah. So I did all that, and not framed in the right light in the first episode. It's one of those like, yeah, and then you're like, no. So you'll have to find that out for yourself. It's not great, but working around in that atmosphere is really, especially with the way things were kind of going in around that time. 2019 is when I did it. It was the whole year, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
Very touchy subject with the racial stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But, I had to dig. I had to figure out stuff. And I found out that pipes were generally made out of fruit wood at the time, or corn cobs. So you essentially had two options. And so I made the first couple of pipes. I made this one. This is Joel Edgerton's pipe, Ridgeway.
Oh, that's cool. I like the kind of spiky features you have on the briar there.
That is potentially the hardest way to make a pipe that I can think of. To have material where you have to relieve in between.
Yeah, is that by hand?
That's all by hand. That's with a knife.
Wow.
I'll kind of give you a bit of an insight. So I made that pipe, right? And I wanted it to be something that could not be duplicated, because that's something in our hobby that happens. There was a rumor going around for a while that I made Costner's pipe for Hatfields and McCoys, which is not true, but I let it go. I was like, this is a fun little lore.
It's a cool rumor.
Go on.
It's a cool rumor.
We won't correct it.
Yeah,
the truth is that pipe was just found like in a pile of pipes that they got for the show, and he liked that one. But what that spun off was the devil ants, the shape, the devil ants. And I didn't want that happening to Ridgway's pipe. So I made that pipe as hard to duplicate as possible. And it actually coincided with Barry Jenkins. He picked out the pipe he wanted Ridgway to have, which was a ceramic pipe that had spikes on it. So I'm like, let me retool this. I'll make it out of arbutus, which would be madrone for the South. So it kind of does work out time appropriate, age appropriate.
Mm-hmm.
I made the first pipe. I sent it to them. They're like, this is great. We need a duplicate. So I made a pipe that be duplicated, and then they wanted me to duplicate it instead of telling me to make two at the same time. So I had to go through with calipers and figure out where all the points were, line it up, and it took me 2 days to make the first one. It took me 2 weeks to make the second one.
So you made two fully functional pipes rather than making one functional pipe and then making maybe a mold and then copying that?
You can't mold it. I mean, it's briar. This is briar, or this is arbutus.
Yeah. Wasn't it supposed to be? You said it was supposed to imitate ceramic, though.
No, it was just the pipe that Barry wanted it to be ceramic. Okay. And then I repitched it as a horn stem with a real craggy, thorny sort of pipe. Barry does things a little differently than most directors. He takes an artsy sort of side to everything, and I should have known this was going to happen. I mean, if you've seen Moonlight, the Underground Railroad is the same thing. There's a very artistic, theatrical sort of presence in the movie that, to me, makes it a little, I don't want to say hard to watch, but it's not as interesting to me. Like, I'm a, Pacific Rim, Transformers, The Hobbit. Like, I want big fucking things happening.
Right.
And theater. And it was still a pleasure working on it. But after I made those and they told me how very period correct this has to be, they said, hey, do you mind if we split up your first payment? And I said, what do you mean split it up? And they're like, we can't really pay you. Like, we kind of went over budget. And I'm like, dude, it's only like $500. What do you mean you went over budget? It was like $600. And he's like, we kind of built an underground train.
As in Underground Railroad, but I'm bummed.
Yes. So here's the thing, though. That story, underground train, that's not a thing. It's a euphemism. You know what I mean? Like it was like,
well, right.
It's an underground railroad because that is how people traveled in secret.
Yeah.
They didn't literally travel on a freaking train underground. They thought that it would be more theatrical to make a train underground, and they spent an abhorrent amount of money doing it, apparently, and they couldn't pay me. So I'm like, yeah, I guess, but does this mean that I can do whatever the hell I want now? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, cool, we're not going period correct. We're doing what I feel like making. So from that point on, some of the stuff may have been period correct and it may have not been, but it was very, very close.
Sure. Oh, totally. I don't think most people are going to go back and say, that's not period correct for that style.
Wait a minute. West, I don't know if you've ever seen it. Chris, I'll ask you. Have you ever watched the television show Downton Abbey?
Of course.
Well, more than I'd like to admit. Sure, of course.
Who hasn't? Yeah. I have watched that series start to finish, all 6 seasons plus the movie, and I'm excited for the one that's coming out. Yes, I'm that level nerd.
You're that guy.
And the amount of attention to detail that they pay
totally.
To the period correctness does matter because, as a car guy, even in the car world, you get the snooty, nasally guy. Well, they only made that car with the 5.3 liter, not the 5.2. On and on, and all these things for that 1 year, where the rest of the world looks at it and goes, and why does that matter?
Well,
I'm the guy. I'm the guy that fact checks Downton Abbey, though, because that's like I am.
Chris, you're awesome.
Actually, and I fact check a lot of that shit just because I'm a huge history dork.
Yeah.
I love that stuff. And it killed me when they told me they built an underground train. I was just like, why would you do this?
Well, they built the first subway. It was the first subway.
I guess so, but I mean, it was very well done. It was an extremely well done series. If you're a film aficionado, it is that. If you're like a dude that likes watching explosions
Yeah.
and like people flying out of windows and stuff, that's not you. It's an incredibly hard to watch and very sad series. It's very violent in the worst possible ways, but it's also very entertaining, and I think it shines a particular light on the issues of the time without trivializing them into, well, that happened then, so it doesn't matter, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, and so just so everybody's
I hear
aware,
what you're saying.
you're talking about the Underground Railroad. It's on Amazon right now.
It's on Amazon Prime. Yeah,
Amazon
on
Prime.
Prime Video right now.
So Chris, we always set absurdly ridiculous milestones for ourselves, goals for ourselves, and I genuinely think it's probably too late at this point for season 1, but at least season 2 of The Rings of Power on Amazon Prime. We can possibly try and pull some strings to get you as the exclusive pipe maker for The Rings of Power. We're gonna see what we can do.
I actually have my feelers out for
No
not
way.
so much The Rings of Power, but a few. Yeah. I have people in the industry now. I will
That's
say
awesome.
this is a two-part thing, but the prop company that I work with did Stranger Things 3.
Oh, cool! That's awesome.
And yeah, it was the stories that I heard were amazing, and they had a blast doing it. After they did that, and there was a huge uproar about anti-tobacco stuff for Netflix. Like, Netflix got pounded for that because there was one guy smoking cigarettes because it was the 80s, and that's what people did.
People
in the
equate
80s.
any kind of tobacco with cigarettes. It's a whole thing.
Everyone freaks out. When's the last time, both of you guys, you saw a teenager smoking a cigarette?
Well,
come on.
Yeah,
beyond
Pete, you really need to be focused on heroin, not a cigarette.
Well, beyond
right
that, when was the last time anybody saw a pipe smoker jonesing for their next bowl?
Exactly. The whole thing, and you know what? And if they were, business.
Right.
At the end of the day, it is literally none of the government's business, other people's business. If someone is sitting smoking a cigarette, keep walking. Who cares? You're not going to get cancer from breathing in the fumes.
It's not
Calm down.
Yeah, exactly.
And then at the same time, they're on their way walking to the freaking donut shop. All this carcinogenic garbage and putting all this sugar in their bodies that's going to kill them eventually anyway. Like, everyone needs to calm down.
Yeah.
But when they did that, it put this like immediate lockdown on tobacco in the film industry. It was bizarre. Like, it was the most frustrating thing for me because they're like, yeah, we use this herbal thing, and I'm like, dude, it's green. You can't pack that in a pipe and expect that to show on camera like it's tobacco. It's green. So I went through the top. This is gonna sound weird, but the top herbal smoke. What would you call these guys? Artisans in like the country. Like, I had to go find these guys that they like pick blackberry leaves and they shred them and they make their own herbal smoking mixtures that look like tobacco.
I got to interject here. As a guy who's in the fire protection world and in the the life safety industry, inhaling smoke of any sort is bad.
Yeah.
Well, of any sort. Well, not only
That
that,
being
right?
said, I spent my last night I was at the Boston Cigar Club.
Well, not only that.
So-
Look, I mean, you can point at anything. Look at corn syrup. How much corn syrup do you have in any given day? Or literally, I had some carbonated water that calls themselves Liquid Death. I mean, come on.
Yes.
It's just water, though.
It's carbonated water, but
Yes.
it's no more dangerous.
Yeah.
It's a whole thing.
I have
Yeah.
trouble with this, and I'm not going to get political or
Right.
COVID-y or anything with it. But I have an opinion. With this where literally and this is going to sound a little morbid, I guess, but literally everything that you do in your life will eventually kill you if you do too much of it.
Yes.
Maybe
Yeah.
you like
Yes.
I personally like drinking tea.
Mhm.
Most people don't realize that if you drink too much ginger, it can actually make you really sick, like
Sure.
really, really, really sick. It's poisonous, in
Yeah.
fact, in high consumption. But I like it because it tastes good, and who gives a shit? I don't personally smoke a ton. Like a lot of pipe smokers, they'll smoke, 10 bowls a day or 5 bowls a day. I don't smoke that much because I don't really feel like smoking that much. It's not a health thing. Like I used to smoke cigarettes, and
Yeah.
I know that, like, okay, that's not a great thing. Now I use snus, which is much healthy. Well, I'm not gonna say it's healthier, but it's less bad for you. I personally don't eat sugar. I eat an absolute crap ton of red meat. This guy over here is saying, you shouldn't eat red meat. I'm a vegan because if you eat red meat, you're going to have colon cancer and you're going to have all kinds of high blood pressure and shit. And then you have guys on the other side, they're like, I'm full carnivore. I don't eat any sugar or carbs, and
Right.
I'm probably going to live to 120. Like, no one knows who's right because cigarettes used to be prescribed by doctors,
Right.
as well as cocaine and laudanum. Like, no one knows.
For those, and we do have a decent amount of viewership that is Freemasons. You guys will remember laudanum from the 19th degree in the Scottish Rite.
It's true. So
Yeah.
all the kids watching out there, smoke lots of cigarettes and take cocaine. It's actually good for you.
And have some
I mean-
prescribed laudanum at the same time.
There's so much bullshit around this, and I'm not saying like I agree with any of it. I'm the kind of guy that's like, I'm gonna enjoy my life because there's like a constant story
Well,
always
right.
in the news. There was this guy, he was super healthy. He he had a super balanced diet. He was a marathon runner, died of brain cancer. Well, why did he die of brain cancer?
Yeah.
The guy's super active. He had no underlying problems. Well, you just get brain cancer sometimes. Oh, well, shit. I guess I'll just do whatever I want now. And you should do whatever the hell makes you happy because stress is the number one thing that will kill you.
And that's it.
The second, which is a very close second, is overconsumption of sugar. Just maybe don't eat like a donut for breakfast every day. Maybe don't eat like a whole freaking cake to yourself when you're depressed on like a Sunday afternoon. Like,
Well, like they say, all things in moderation, right? I mean, every year
Yeah.
you hear
Yeah.
at least one person who died from a frat, prank where they drank too much water and died from, water poisoning. I mean, the
That's
saline
real.
in the body is imbalanced. I mean, literally anything can kill you if you have too much or too little of it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I personally practice, and this is, I guess, kind of relevant. I practice breath retention. So,
Oh, do you?
I do that, and I also do cold immersion every day.
You think that
So
works?
I work out. Oh yeah, it's and if it doesn't work for anything else, it works as doing hard shit willingly, like
Building willpower, sure.
you're sitting in a nice hot shower. You should do this when maybe not at night. Do it during the day. It's easier during the day. Sit in a nice hot shower and just be like, I'm so relaxed. And then, like, you know how you have that mind-body separation? It's the same fear where you think you're going to jump off a ski lift even though you don't want to. Like, you're like holding on. because
I've been
you
there.
think, like,
I've
what if
been
my
there.
body like jumps me off. Okay. Just do that. Just don't even think about it. Just go cold and turn that thing to cold. And you sit there for 2 minutes and just see what happens to your body. It is fascinating.
Okay.
You as an organism must, and I'm not saying it has to be cold. Some guys push themselves to the limit working out. But going from a hot, comfortable area to a super cold environment, if you can get past the breathing, because you will go that whole thing. If you can control your breathing, your body, you'll feel your body change during it, and it's the most wild experience. And I do it every day because it's something that I know I have to do. I say in my mind, this is going to suck, but you're doing it anyway. And it enables you to handle stressors that are so far beyond what you thought you were capable of.
Yeah.
That's impressive. That's definitely impressive. I know the next time Wes takes a shower, he'll be thinking of you, Chris.
I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
So
At least someone is.
keep that in mind.
I mean-
Keep that in mind. So Chris, I know we've been going for a while, and I hate to keep you all night. And I say night, knowing you're 3 hours behind us. What's
I still have
next?
to have dinner.
What is next for Morgan Pipes? Like, you seem like the guy who's 3 steps ahead. What's next?
Oh, I'm playing what they call it, 5D chess. I
Star Trek fan.
I've got things in the works right now that I've been planning for probably 5 years.
Okay.
Like, Yeah, no,
What is
I
top
don't
secret
have,
that you
like,
can reveal to us exclusively?
I can reveal to you that they're the One series.
Okay.
So I developed a line of pipes a few years back called the One series, and originally I was making these by hand for about double what they cost now, and it is the smallest, simplest briar pipe you can buy on the market. And I mean, they're tiny; they're 3 inches long, smaller chambers, and these things you can clench and they fit to your teeth because you're right on the wood, right? So essentially what this solves, I can't hear at all. What are you saying?
Oh, David was just being David. Go ahead.
I'm mouthing. That's what she said.
Oh, yeah. You can say that. It's your podcast, man. So the One series is like, it's sort of like a contraction of like, it's a one piece pipe.
Yeah, I
right?
see it.
This thing will fit in the coin pouch on your jeans. And it was designed to just be something that's ultra portable. You always have it on you. And I did it at first as like tiny little blocks that I had in stock. And I was just making them. I was like, okay, cool. And then they sold out. And then I made more and they sold out. And it just kept going. I was like, what the hell is wrong with these people? Why do they want such a small pipe? But the truth is, this pipe will actually smoke cooler than this pipe.
How so?
Really?
In some regards, yeah. So there's a lot of science that goes into the pipe making. And it happened with, it's a lot of thermodynamic properties and fluid dynamics and all that kind of crazy sciencey shit. With this, there is no transition material. So you're going straight from wood, through wood to your mouth, right? With a pipe, you're creating condensation as soon as you hit the warm wood and you're hitting the cold Delrin or the cold acrylic, you create condensation. And one of the, and I'm not a scientist, so I don't know, but I have talked to some very renowned scientists about this.
But I play one on TV.
You remove...
Really quick before you go further. That's the difference between a 2-dimensional and a 3-dimensional flow through a pipe. When you have a 1-dimensional, which is considered 2-dimensional, and bursts into condensation, which will add a 3-dimensional push to it, and it changes the what you're getting on the other end.
Correct. Yeah, and that's the kind of the property with like a reverse calabash chamber. So reverse calabash chamber would be, you have a chamber inside of here, so the airway is actually significantly larger. You're creating a storm inside of the pipe because you're wanting to create a ton of turbulence to shake all the moisture out of the smoke, so that the smoke that comes out is fairly cool. So smoke on its own is not, and you're probably going to correct me on this, is not hot. Like air on its own, it has a hard time staying hot over a long distance. If you add moisture or some sort of vapor to that, it can stay hot a hell of a lot longer.
Absolutely. Air in itself, this is crazy that we are talking about, and when I'm talking about 3-dimensional and 2-dimensional flows, I'm actually talking about clean agent fire suppression systems that I've worked with for years. And it's the same thermodynamic principle or the same flow principle as the pipe. We're talking about adding a moisture or condensation factor to that. When you add that water to it, it is able to retain the temperature so much longer than it is with just smoke. Smoke wants to cool down. The nature of the universe is to cool, to expel energy as fast as possible.
Entropy.
And so smoke, smoke. Thank you, Wes. A great word to interject there. Exactly the same thing. So it works. So we are talking on so many different levels, and it's all the same scientific equation.
Yeah, and it has multiple applications. I had a conversation literally about this topic with a lead engineer with Gulfstream.
Oh, wow, really?
I talked to on Saturday nights. And so, and he's like up here with his conversation, he's like, oh, this and that. And I'm holding my own with him because I'm like, I may not be working on jets, but I am working on pipes. And it's the same thing, man. If someone doesn't like the
airflow
pipe,
is airflow.
Yeah.
So when do you have this pipe available? Sorry, go ahead.
Say that again?
Well, no, please, I didn't mean to interrupt. I was just going to ask when you're going to have this pipe available.
It'll be available soon-ish. I just I stagger my launches because I need to stretch it out a little bit because there's again supply chain issue. I hate saying that. I'm so freaking sick of it being an issue.
I work for a Fortune 50 company. Trust me, I say supply chain issue at least 30 times a day.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the supply chain in Italy is really weird because it's Italy is a strange place. They have what is essentially sort of a lower, like a labor worker. Like they have labor unions, but they're for particular things, right? So they have harvesters that go out into the mountains and they harvest briar. They dig it up. Then they bring it to the mills, and the mills store the burls until they're ready to cut them. They keep them alive, by the way. They look like these little wooden brains, and they sprout little green. It's an evergreen. Briar is an evergreen.
Mm-hmm.
It's a white heath tree. And they cut them, boil them, and dry them. Drying generally takes 6 to 8 months. We're at a point now where whatever briar comes in gets cut, boiled, and shipped. So they're not even drying the blocks because there's such a need for it.
Wow.
So, yeah. So you're
wow.
gonna get it, and then you'll have maybe a 20 to 30% kill rate where those blocks won't be usable because they'll crack, and it's a whole shit show right now. But that's kind of what's new. I do have some other new stuff that's going on, but I'm not talking about it because it's too.
That's fine.
Too
Top
exciting.
secret.
Yeah, we'll get you back on.
Yeah, we're gonna come back
on when you're ready. We want to hear about it because we've been going for an hour and 52 minutes right now, based on the clock that I have up on the screen, and I'm literally excited to do another hour and 52 minutes more right now. But
if I
know you're out there
to come in and refuel me with some spaghetti or something, I'll do it.
Yeah, I'm stuck in a hotel, so I have to slip downstairs and see if there's anything to get for dinner down there, and go from there. I'm in Boston, so and I keep looking over here to my right, and you guys aren't gonna be able to see it, but I'm gonna turn it. You guys are gonna.
Oh wow!
But
yeah, you have a blizzard out there.
That was green earlier.
That's crazy.
And that has come just in the past few hours.
Cool.
It is a blizzard out there, and we're expecting another 4 inches, which is easy for us to deal with up in this neck of the woods of snow tomorrow for my drive back to New York. So
that's fun.
So Chris, before we let you go, there's some lightning questions we have for you. Lightning questions. Okay.
Right.
Don't stop to think about it. Lightning questions. What's your favorite pipe style? You're thinking about it.
That's too long. Try again.
Straight billiard.
Good answer. What's your favorite? Wait.
Because there are the people like me who are not a pipe aficionados. Do you have a representation?
What's a straight billiard look like?
Pipe?
This, but more elegant.
Okay.
Nice.
Thin. I like really
there we go.
thin,
Nice
lightweight
classic.
pipes.
What's your favorite tobacco to smoke in a pipe?
My brothers, Lena and Duyo, or Rustica from McBaron.
Wrong. Go again. I'm kidding. That's great. That's awesome.
I have too many favorites. Those are just what I could think of.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. How often do you smoke a pipe?
I don't know, probably three times a week, something like that. It varies. Some weeks I won't smoke. Some weeks I'll smoke multiple times a day. It just depends.
Totally.
I have 2 little kids, so it's kind of doesn't really work because I have a 1-year-old, so I'm having to I have to wash my hands, and I have to change my shirt, and it's just the whole thing.
Dad duty. It's a whole thing.
Yeah.
Well, Chris.
So Chris, just real quick, the last night, as Wes and I were talking on the Book of Faces messenger or text message, whatever it was, he was at home. What was it, Wes? You were saying you were doing writing and reading duty with the kids?
I was literally reading books and watching, I think it was Clifford the Big Red Dog, maybe. At the same time, you were out at a bar drinking and smoking.
At the same time, I'm off at the Boston Cigar Club smoking cigars and drinking Blanton's bourbon. So
perks of being on the road, right?
Yeah, right?
I mean, I'm not going to say I can do whatever the hell I want. I can sit out here and drink all day if I want. I'm self-employed. No one can fire me. But
Says your current wife,
I'm
as like my current wife does.
my current wife. Well,
Literally go back to episode 1, and you'll find out why we laugh about current wife.
My wife is. I call her my current wife. So
because there might be a new one next week, or
you know what? You never say
she
never.
might leave.
I have no comment to add in on this situation.
I'll check it out. So, yeah, I just I move around a lot, so I'm not like think that when you own your own business, you're just tinkering away like the elves and Santa Claus workshop all day. But in all reality, my day is so segmented. It would freak most people out. Like I'll work for an hour, and then it'd be like, babe, can you take care of Joe while I take Maeve to the doctor, and I gotta do this, and let's Dad come play with me on the trampoline. Like there's it's a thing. You're shuffling constantly. Next question.
Yep.
Well, those are my lightning
Next
questions
question.
I have so far. So Chris, can we have you on again, because you are awesome. Hey, really quick before we let you go though, tell us about your podcast you have.
Podcast is on every place you could get your podcast: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. It's called Beyond the Pipe, and it's with me and Sean Ream, and we're every 2 weeks. We put out an episode. We got we just had a guy named Ryan Shaner, who is a cigar dude, was a pipe dude, might be a pipe dude at some point. He's a big TikTok star, One Big Pikey. He's One Big Pike on TikTok, I think. No, One Big Pike. It's one or the other. One Big Pikey or One Big Pike. Guy takes drink recipes and tries them.
Oh, that's awesome.
And he's got like 1.5 million TikTok followers. It's crazy. So.
That's cool. Well, Chris, I gotta say thank you for joining us. Can we have you on again, because you have a lot of information to give us that we didn't even touch on yet?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm happy to.
Yeah, absolutely. The amount of time that we had, and which we went. I mean, we're at 8:59 p.m. right now.
We're at 2 hours now,
Seaboard.
and we barely scratched the surface
right now, and we've only barely scratched the surface with you. So
yeah,
we'd love to have you back on here sometime in the future. Want to know more about those plans that you said that you're excited about that you can't share with us yet. Hopefully, we'll get you back on when you can share some of that. And, hopefully we all have a minor role in season 2 of the New Zealand Hobbit Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. So
series.
as far as the Rings of Power, we will get you in with the directors and producers, so that Morgan Pipes is the exclusive pipe maker of Middle Earth moving forward.
I would love to do that. We'll see. And next time, maybe I'll be on the other side of the shop. This side is kind of boring. It's just it has the best lighting, and I knew it was getting dark. So
yeah. Well, Chris, thank you.
That's what the fun stuff is. That's all the fun tools and stuff. That'd be more interesting to look at than like books and bins.
Yeah, I want to see next time. I want to see your process.
Okay.
All right.
Totally.
All right.
Sounds good.
All right, Chris. I appreciate you so much for coming out and being on the show with us. And I honestly look forward to having you back on here and learning more. And more importantly, I look forward to learning how to smoke my pipe.
Yes. So
There's
next
lots
time,
of videos out there. YouTube it.
Yeah. So next time Chris, I actually sent David some mutton chop piper videos because he's the old school classic guy everybody needs to learn from. But next time you're on, Chris, we will have David smoking a pipe like a pro. But for everybody watching, we're going to give away this. I don't even know what shape this is from Morgan Pipes. This is a Bones pipe we're going to give away. All you need to do is follow this channel. You need to like this video and leave a comment about why you love Morgan Pipes. And you could possibly win this pipe. We'll be choosing the winner at random next week, March 16th. You have until the 6 p.m. Eastern on March 16th, and that evening we'll be revealing the winner of this pipe. I'll send it out to you. I have no idea what's in here. It could be anything. He could have stuck old pipe cleaners in here. I have no idea. We'll see.
Don't remember.
It'll be a good time no matter what. And whoever wins a pipe, we hope that you come back and at least let us know what the prize was, so we can see it. So that's gonna be a requirement as well. Like, follow, subscribe, share,
all the fun stuff. Hit all the ding dongs.
Let us come back.
We'll make it happen. So, Chris, thank you, and we'll talk to you soon, man.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Absolutely, bud. Have a good one.
And with that, we are out.
Bye, guys.
We out, or is just he out? How's this work?
Oh, we're out.
What are you doing?
We're out. Chris, we're out.
Cool. Yeah. All right. Yeah, of course.
Are we
It
all?
was fun.
What's going on here? Oh, I can't see it on the show yet. Oh, and there we go. Okay, great.
Yeah. No, it's all good. Yeah, that was good. We did what we needed to do.
Hey, Wes, shut down your volume. You're like crazy loud on your volume.
Your audio's still going. Your audio's still feeding through YouTube. My audio is still coming through. There we go.
Infatuated with the in-between, the ups and downs, the curves and the rounds. I bring it to your city or your hometown. I go back in time when the feeling was fine, when funkin' was legal and it wasn't a crime. Party people lined up and down the way, a bigger celebration than your birthday. Funkin' up the neighborhood, I felt cool 'cause the funk was good. Funk you in the city, funk you up in the woods. Funkin' up the neighborhood, funkin' up the neighborhood. I felt cool 'cause the funk was good. Funk you in the city, funk you up in the woods. Funkin' up the neighborhood. And I have seen the world pristine, funk you up in the bushes, funk you down in the trees. Now look around, all the frowns, the yellow, the white, the red and the brown. And keep in mind, it never costs a dime, 'cause funkin' is free, I remember the time. Now look today, the streets are gray, time to take it back to yesterday. Funkin' in the neighborhood, I felt the fool 'cause the funk was good. Funk you in the city, funk you up in the woods. Funkin' up the neighborhood, funkin' up the neighborhood. I felt the fool 'cause the funk was good. It was good in the city, funk you up in the woods. Funkin' up the neighborhood. Funkin' up the neighborhood. I felt full 'cause the funkin' was good. Funk you in the city, funk you up in the woods. Funkin' up the neighborhood. Funkin' up the neighborhood. I felt full 'cause the funkin' was good. Funk you in the city, funk you up in the woods. Funkin' up the neighborhood.